right, we are cooking with gas. Got the video started, and now we are about to start recording for the podcast. Hello, thank you so much for being here. My name is Akia, and I go by Soothsayer, and this is a new episode of Soothsayer Says Some Shit. This episode is going to be about the Aquarius full moon on August 22nd. We're going to talk a little bit about the Virgo new moon on September 7th. And we're also going to talk about Imposter Syndrome. So let's just jump right in. The last time I recorded a podcast was almost a year ago. A lot has happened. I've upgraded my little setup. I'm actually recording a video of me doing this podcast. So if you're interested in actually watching me record the podcast, will be put up on YouTube. And I also have a fancy little microphone sitting here next to me. I'm not recording on my cell phone. You still might hear something. For example, at the beginning, right as I hit record, my two dogs decided they wanted to get up and walk around. Things are a lot different than the last time I recorded this. For example, my son started school, so there won't be any more child interruptions, which is a little nice, but also kind of sad because he was so excited to go to school, and I was not ready for him to go to school at all. But anyway, I'm rambling at this point, and we need to talk about the Aquarius full moon. That's the one that's coming up this Saturday, I believe. I believe it's Saturday. It's the 22nd of August, but I want to say it's Saturday. I don't remember the dates right now, though, that I'm sitting here recording and on the spot. But I do have written down here some notes. For example, full moons are typically great for releasing old, negative, unaligned energy. That's how I've always known them. Some folks might say that that's when you plant seeds, but I've always known full moons to be about release, and new moons are about the planting of seeds. So with the full moon being in Aquarius is the water bearer, but it's an air sign, so it's already kind of a, I don't want to curse on here, but it's a bit of a mind fuck. Which is very typical of Aquarius, if you ask me, because they are, you think they're gonna zig, and then they end up, flying straight up into the air or some crazy crap like that. But with the full moon in Aquarius, it calls for creativity, innovation, change, freedom, and revolution. Those are all huge themes for Aquarius. And you might be feeling that energy leading up to and a few days after the full moon. And that is when you would really tap into those energies. It's like the energy of the full moon can be felt before and after, which is just, I think it's great that you were able to, that the day of the exaction, is that how you say that word? I'm not entirely sure now that I have to say it out loud. But the day the moon is exact is not the day that you have to, you is not the only day that you can tap into that energy. I've generally heard from other practitioners that it's the day before the full moon, the day after, the day of the full moon, and the day after. And that also, sorry, not just the moons in general. If you're wanting to work with the energy of the full moon or the energy of the new moon, generally you can work with that energy the day before, the day of, and the day after. Because that's really about how long it takes for the moon to move into whatever sign it's going to be in when it's exact, and then however long it takes for that moon to move out of. Now, sometimes it's a little quicker, but for the most part, it's pretty spot on, I guess. um, but because the full moon is in Aquarius and it's all about creativity, innovation, freedom, revolution, change, all that good stuff, the sun being in Leo really amplifies the creativity. But it also amplifies the need, well, it gives you courage to implement uh, the changes, the revolution that you need in your life. It also, I mean, Leo is a very, I mean, the sun is in Leo, and Leo is ruled by the sun, so that's already some pretty powerful energy. And then you have the full moon in Aquarius, and it's all like you. If you are thinking of, you know, releasing some things so that you can make way for the change that you are wanting to call in your life, now is really a the perfect time. Like, I can't yeah. And this energy is focused outward though because of Aquarius, because Aquarius is about community, whereas Leo is about self. So if there's any projects that you are thinking about that not only benefit you, but the community at large, then now is the perfect time to sort of lay the groundwork, because when you release things, it's freeing up space so that you can lay a solid foundation. It's just, for example, you wouldn't build a house on a crumbling foundation. You would clear it away and lay down a new one. And that is exactly what this full moon in Aquarius is, the energy is feeling like. So if you, oh, oh yeah, a little note that I have here. It says Jupiter, which rules Aquarius, will be conjunct with this moon, which also boosts the energy. So if you find yourself having to make a tough decision during this time, the moon will bring clarity. And I'm not an astrologer at all. Anytime I talk about the moon and like the energy surrounding the moon, I 100% looked it up on the internet. And in fact, I found a lot of the information that I just gave you from foreverconscience.com. So if you want to look up that article about the full moon in Aquarius that I read and took notes on, then you are, go for it. Because I just gave you like the Cliff Notes version of what was said on there. And I forgot where I got the information I forgot. Sorry, I'm getting a little tongue tied. I forgot where I got the information from for the Virgo new moon. Excuse me. Sorry, I didn't want to take a drink, and then I felt like I had to cough too, and I didn't want that recorded, so yeah. But that's still on camera. Great. Um, anyway, and the Virgo new moon is on September 7th. Again, I don't remember what day that falls in the month, but with the energy of the Virgo new moon, after you've cleared away that old foundation with the Aquarius full moon, the new moon is when you would start hammering out the details for that project that you made space for with the Aquarius new moon. Because, Virgo is very detail orientated. At least that is, like, depending on where Virgo falls in your chart, obviously, it will determine where you are nitpicky with details. For example, my husband and my son both have Virgo Venuses. And as someone who is a has a lot of fire in their chart, it can be a little hard to please them in certain aspects, because they are looking for attention to details as far as like their love languages go. Like, they want you to pay attention to little things, and then about them, or little things that they enjoy. And then they want you to, remember that and pay attention to that sort of thing, which, that is great. I can do my best to do that, but at the end of the day, I can, I might not always succeed, but I do my best, and I feel like that's what counts. But maybe that's just all the fire signs in me refusing to to take accountability for falling short. I don't know. But the point of that is that the details. You got to get the details done for your project, because it's important. For example, again, with laying the foundation, if you are going to and I am by no means a carpenter or know anything real in regards to building house, but I do know that the foundation gets laid down first, and I do know that if there's impurities in the concrete that you're using to lay down the foundation, then eventually you're going to have some problems. So that's where the details come into play, and making sure that you have the really the minute details set up to go. Ooh, excuse me. I had a little weird hiccup thing going on there. um, Shoot, and now I lost my train of thought. Yes, you have to make sure that you have the details, because something can come up that you didn't plan for, and if you didn't plan for it, well, then you're kind of just flapping in the breeze at that point. So, yeah. But that's really what I wanted to talk about in regards to the full moon and the new moon. Um, Again, I just got this information off the internet, and I'm just relaying a Cliff Notes version to you guys. If you want to do more research, by all means, go ahead. No one is stopping you. In fact, I encourage doing your own research because discernment is key with anything. Do your own research. Do your own research. And we're going to take a little break. Hello to all the folks on YouTube. If you're watching this, this is new for me. I can't believe I'm doing this, recording a video while I record my podcast. I never thought I was going to be one of those people, and yet here we are. And sorry that I just completely like blank for a second there and forgot that I was recording. I have no excuses. I'm sorry. Thanks for being here, though. I'm going to start recording again now for the podcast, though. Okay, so the next topic that I wanted to talk about is imposter syndrome. Okay, your girl experiences imposter syndrome a lot. It is part of the reason why there are so few podcast episodes because, well, I think, that would be a good subject for a podcast episode, but then I think, nah, somebody else has probably done it and they'll do it better than me, and I have no business talking about, blank. And then it just kind of spirals out of control until I'm just like, never mind. And I disassociate and watch anime, that's my go-to thing to disassociate to is anime. So I'm not saying that I am always disassociating when I watch anime, because that's definitely not true. Anime is just it's a comfort thing for me, but also like I love watching anime, so I guess it's still a comfort thing. Okay, yeah, it's a comfort thing, but I don't know. I've always loved cartoons though, and I'm getting off the topic. But imposter syndrome it's really it sucks so much. If you've ever experienced it, then you know, and no words, there are no words needed because but it really is the worst liar. It is the worst liar because I can 100% tell you that actual imposters are not worried about being perceived as imposters. They are going to they're going to keep at it because they have all the confidence in the world. And they're just like, I got this. Even though it's like, it's really frustrating because, people who actually have expertise but are feeling like imposters are not speaking up. So you have all these actual people who don't know what they're talking about what they don't know with such confidence that it's a little sickening. It's just like, God. But like I said, it's the worst liar. It convinces you that you It convinces you that you, all the time and that effort that you put into learning your craft, your skill, your passion, whatever it is that you were feeling like an imposter about, that it means nothing, that it literally means nothing because you are an imposter and you don't know what you're doing. And that's simply not true. It's not true because you put time, you put effort into learning something, learning about something, and it's you have that knowledge. No one can take that knowledge away from you. They can certainly make you feel like the knowledge that you have is useless, although when they try to, it is on you whether you believe them or not. That is kind of the thing about that. But no one can take that knowledge away from you because you worked hard for it. But it still happens. I mean, I still like I said, I picked this subject because it is something that I think about a lot more than I'd care to admit, especially when it comes to like tarot reading or spell work or even being a parent, honestly. Being a parent, being a wife, just everything in my every role that I play in my life. There's always a part of me that's just like, you don't know what the fuck you're doing. And you know, in the instances where it's parenting, you know, I'm 100 that voice is 100% right. I don't know what I'm doing, like at least 80% of the time. There's a good 20% of the time where I'm just like, no, I know what I'm doing. Bites nails. But it's just it's your ego. It's what it is. It's your ego, and it's saying this to you because it's holding you back. Your ego holds you back from a lot of things, and because it has a story that it wants to tell, a story that you are playing out. And the thing is, you have to look at, you have to figure out why your ego wants you trapped in this story. Because the thing is, a lot of times it has to do with being comfortable versus being uncomfortable. Your ego is comfortable not having any real, air quotes, power. It's comfortable with being the victim a lot of the times. It's comfortable with the status quo. And when you finally go, you know what? I'm not comfortable with that anymore. I don't want that anymore. You have to sit in discomfort, and because discomfort is how you grow. It's just it just is. Like, I don't know if any of you growing up ever experienced growing pains, but that's kind of the what the ego is trying to avoid. It's trying to avoid being uncomfortable because if you accept that you do know what you're talking about when it comes to a particular topic, then that also means that you have to be responsible for putting out correct information versus misinformation and things like that. You have, and you are in a position, almost a leadership position. Well, it's not really almost a leadership position. It is kind of a leadership position because there are probably people who look to you for answers on whatever subject you are the expert in, and that can get a little uncomfortable. I need to take another drink of water, and I'm not going to turn the microphone off this time. It can get a little uncomfortable being seen as an authority on something because, I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but me and authority, we don't jive, we don't vibe. That's not a meh. That's just and so like being seen as an authority on something to other people, even though I 100% feel like I am an eternal student, it's weird and uncomfortable. And it's, I've said it's weird, but I'm going to say it's weird again because it is for me. And so the ego is just like, well, I don't like that, so I'm just going to pretend like I don't know what I'm talking about and I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm not an authority on this because I'm uncomfortable with the idea of being seen as an authority figure with something. And that's just, it's, I don't know. Eh, that's just how I feel. But the thing about it is, it's like I've already said you grow so much, but you really do when you accept the fact that you do know what you're doing and you do know what you're talking about. There's so much more room for growth because just because you know more, you know something and you've taken the time and effort to know more about it doesn't mean that you have to, that you're done learning, that you're done. It does not mean that you can always learn more. It's just like science. We are always learning new things about in science that we thought were set in stone for a long time. And I think that's really incredible, being able to get new information on something and it really changes the your whole perspective on things, and it's fresh and it's new, and you get to learn all over again and get to become the expert, air quotes again, on something that you care about so deeply. Like if I found out tomorrow that the way I was doing candle magic, for example, was really ineffective, and that this one thing that I could do would make it 1,000 times more effective, I would be so happy because I was like, oh wow, I've been wasting so much energy doing this one way and not really getting results, but not really getting the best results. So that's how I feel about that. Like, I I love, maybe maybe it's my Sagittarius moon going, I love to learn, because I do, and that's I read somewhere about Sagittarius being the eternal student. So that's just exciting to me. It's like I get to learn something new about something that I'm passionate about. And it's so cool. And it's so much better than feeling like I don't know what I'm talking about. And it's better because the power is within me and it's not in some external force. Uh, which is great because I don't know. I like I like thinking about being the person in charge of my own life and in charge of my own learning experience, I guess. I don't know. It's just, it makes me happy, and so I'm gonna do it. And now I'm going to pull a collective card reading for whoever is listening or watching. I just did finger guns in case you were listening to the podcast and not watching the video. I did finger guns because that's the kind of person I am. And now I'm going to pull some cards from my soul card deck. I really love this deck. It's a deck that I've had for a while, and I don't know. I just love it. A little ASMR for you. I like the way the cards being shuffled sound on a recording. What do we need to know? Oh, okay. 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 So, if you're listening to the podcast, then I just want you to know that two cards came flying out. Like one literally leapt out of the deck. And it's funny because this card has been low-key stalking me. If you're watching this on YouTube, then you 100% saw that card fly out of the deck. So the card that flew out of the deck is the Empress. And I've been getting a very special connection with this card because I've been really leaning into that energy. It's a creative energy. It's also a nurturing, mothering energy. And for some reason, I really, even though, I don't know, this card has been following me around, especially since I've started doing a lot of research on the goddess Hecate. She is, I'm not going to use this episode to talk a lot about her, but as soon as I started looking into like her stories and signs and all that stuff, the Empress card started to be a really big stalker card for me. So, yeah. But, and then paired with the Knight of Cups, we are being called to nurture ourselves. Maybe, and the Knight of Cups is reversed, by the way. And I really feel like we are being called to nurture ourselves, but not just nurture ourselves. It's when you nurture yourself, you are able to do more, not just for yourself, but for those in the community. Taking care of yourself is the best way that you can take care of your community, because it's just like you can't pour from an empty cup. And whether you are a parent to children or for children, or there's just people who depend on you in some aspect of your life, you have to take care of yourself in order to give those people the best of you. And I definitely feel like that's what this reading is telling us to do. Especially emotionally, because we have the Knight of Cups, and the Knight of Cups, but it's reversed. And the Knight of Cups is someone who is deeply in touch with their emotions. And but it's reversed, so it almost kind of feels like it goes along with the Imposter Syndrome thing, and feeling like you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, and you're feeling frustrated, but you're bottling up those emotions. but take care of yourself. Feel those emotions. You won't drown in them. And if you feel like you're drowning in them, it's probably because you haven't released enough. Like, if, I don't know. But I will say, if you genuinely feel like you don't know which direction is up and down, and you literally feel like you're swimming in a sea of emotion, please, please, please seek professional help. I cannot stress this enough, because there is someone in the world who cares about you, and they would not want you to feel like that. And if it's something that you cannot handle on your own, then it is 100% okay to ask for help. Even if it's from a medical professional, like, that's what they're there for. They're there to help. But if you are not in a situation like that, and you're just in a situation where you're just not taking care of yourself, and you're not letting yourself feel emotions because emotions are yucky and you don't want to do that, then I'm sorry, you're going to have to, because that's how you release things so that you can make room for what you do want. And that's just as simple as that. Okay, guys, I think I'm done here. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. And as for you guys on YouTube, finger guns. I that's it. That's the show. That's the that's it. I don't really know what else I have for you guys. Thanks for being here if you watch this on YouTube, and I'll catch you later. Bye.